Hey guys, this episode is brought to you by Equitz Guitars. We had Kevin Equitz on the show a while ago, but just as a reminder, he makes 3 models, the Ashford, the Devera, and the Rayburn. Personally, I think the Rayburn is my favorite of the 3.
The Rayburn is pretty sweet. That's like the single cut telly sort of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like that Rayburn, that red one that he had when he came over.
Yeah,
super cool.
Everything he makes, everything that he's made that I've gotten to play has just been fantastic.
Oh yeah,
he does like that 2-tone scarf neck joint thing with the paint on the back of the headstock. Super classy looking.
Very classy. Really great feeling guitars. Fantastic fretwork. The necks really fill your hand in a pleasant sort of way.
Yeah.
And comfortable bodies that resonate great and really cool pickups. Like they're just a complete package. So go check out Equitz Guitars. You're not going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
And then you can buy one, buy 2 or 3, you know?
Yep. That's Equitz, EQUITZ, guitars.com. Yeah, go check them out.
This episode is also brought to you by Wong's Amplifiers.
Yep. Wong's is China's only true multinational boutique amp builder, bringing professional amplification for the working musician on a budget. Right now, you can get $25 off the Mini 5 using the code SLUM60.
I don't know what the slum thing is all about, but I get the 60 part.
Yeah. They're doing a year-end sale right now on their VT1H head. That's the one that you just did a speaker shootout with.
Yeah, I've got that one.
They're selling that for $150. The Mini 5 right now is $225.
That's the one you have, right?
That's the one I have. It's definitely got like a tweed sound to it, and it's a tube rectified, which is kind of gives it some tonal variations there. And more recently, they came out with the VT18, which is a $500 combo with a power soak that allows you to run it at 1, 5, or 18 watts. They say the VT18 is a Marshall-inspired combo with a Celestion 70th anniversary speaker in it. I don't know what that means. I don't know Celestion speaker offerings.
Sounds cool to me. So, I really like my little 1-watt amp.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. It's a fun thing to bust out and kind of do bluesy stuff with, get kind of like gritty at low volume. Experiment with pushing tubes with various pedals. Like if I've got a boost and I want to see how it pushes tubes, I bust that thing out. I mean, it sounds like a small tube amp, but it's a good sound for a small tube amp.
That little 5-watt amp I've been told to turn it down because it's too loud.
Steve, that amp is too goshing loud.
They use military grade fiberglass PCBs, German tone components, heavy grade enclosures. I will say, like, the enclosure for at least the Mini 5 is definitely solid.
Yeah.
Wong's is the best choice for tone fancier with electricity guitar. That's their slogan. That's their slogan.
I love it.
So head on over to wongsamplifier.com. Like I said, Ryan and I are both using them here and there, and I really like the product.
Yeah, me too.
Sounds great.
Aloha, Steve.
Hi, Ryan. How's it going?
Just fine. I guess I threw you off your game and you don't know how to get to the intro now, do you?
I don't.
Well, maybe I'll mention that you're listening to 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, modding, breaking, reviewing, and playing podcast.
Oh, sounds about right.
Yeah, here we are.
I believe that is the thing that we are making right now.
Yeah, we're making a podcast as we speak. This is the part of the show where you ask me what's new.
Hey, Ryan, what's new?
I'm just here hanging out in Hawaii, sipping Mai Tais from my ukulele, just having a tropical vacation.
Is there a hibiscus flower in your
There's
Mai Tai?
a lot of hibiscus flowers all around me.
They put hibiscus flowers in that, or plumeria flowers in that?
Yes, plumerias, hibiscus flowers. I'm surrounded by a tropical landscape, and I am having a great time. No, I'm in the garage right now. But if you're listening to this episode,
I was about to play this out and be like, yeah, this Skype recording technology is working great.
I'm on the beach with my phone and we're podcasting. Yeah. If I was I would not podcast over Skype on my vacation.
Your little iPhone headphones, your little headphones microphone sounds great.
So yeah, we're recording in the garage, but when this episode airs, I'll still be on vacation in Maui, having a great time, I hope. And I just want to say I'll still be here for a couple days. If you're a listener and you're in Maui, hit me up on Facebook. Let's hang out. I'm totally open to have like a hangout, like lunch or something like that with listeners who are in that area.
Have you been trying to scope out what kind of guitar shops are on Maui?
Oh yeah,
go to.
I've already scoped out the 3 shops that there are on Maui. They're all basic, kind of little, like you'll buy strings and cables. Right. And, they have a selection of acoustics and a bunch of ukuleles and a couple, electric options and things like that. I've also been scoping out the Craigslist, and I actually posted an ad to the Craigslist there today thinking, hey, it might be hard for them to get certain pedals there, shipping the way it is. Are you just going
to put those like in your bag and take them with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm planning on buying stuff when I'm there, so it's like there's going to be an empty space on my bag when I come back if I sell these things. But in the ad that I posted, I said, please let me know before I leave,
right? And
I'll bring what you're interested in. I also put it out there that I would trade various pedals for a nicer ukulele. Maybe I'll do a ukulele upgrade.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to have a proper vacation. I haven't had a proper vacation in like 2 years, something like that.
Right.
I went camping 2 years ago.
I don't know your life.
I feel like I've earned some time off, so I'm excited.
All right, let's. You ready to hit this first ad?
Yeah, let's get right into it.
I'm half expecting like the next episode we record after this, you're just gonna be like, oh, hey guys,
I'm super relaxed. I probably won't be relaxed because when I come back from vacation, I've like buried in chores, and I always get like the most client emails when I'm on vacation.
Right,
I'll have like 10 new jobs I have to tackle.
Yeah.
When I get back, this is going to be an interesting episode. We have a bunch of like kind of unusual topics and ads. I guess not unusual, but it's just not going to feel standard.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
This is in search of Hurricane Irma flood guitars. Ad reads, ISO Hurricane Irma flood guitars. If you have a water damaged guitar not covered by insurance that you might want to sell, give me a shout or send a few pics. Mainly looking for higher end solid body Gibson, Fender, etc. But would consider others, lap steels, mandolins, etc.
Now, did I botch the name of the person who posted this to the group? Is it Cody Hanlon, or did I mean to write Cody Hansen?
No, you got this right. It's
okay.
Cody Hanlon. Thanks.
Don't
Cody
we have a Cody Hansen too?
No, we have a Joe Hansen.
Oh, okay, that's right.
So this one's gone up, and actually somebody else posted like right after this one was found that there's also one in the Houston area.
Oh, sure.
ISO Hurricane Harvey flood guitars. I obviously like the first response to all of this is vultures.
Yeah. Like someone posted a GIF of vultures circling,
and of course, like now we are at when this airs, like we're going to be post initial trauma. Let's say that. That's the fairest thing to say. Obviously, like,
but when these ads came out, it was like, the hurricane is still there.
The hurricane hadn't even landed when this ad was posted.
It's like in preparation.
I think Hurricane Irma hadn't even hit Saint Martin's yet. Like it was still in the middle of the Atlantic.
I mean, there's something just really tacky about the ad and its timing. But then on the other side, the flip side of this is like you have all your stuff ruined. Insurance comes in and says, yeah, we'll replace this stuff. You're still left with a pile of moist, rotting guitars.
Right.
Might as well unload them to someone who thinks that they can, refurbish them.
Well, part of me wonders if this could be a way too. This guy says he's looking for certain things, but if he has like a restoration plan, I wonder if you could be like, hey, how about instead of me selling you the guitar at this price, I just pay you to fix it.
Yeah, I give you the insurance money.
Or, if it's not covered by insurance, there's no insurance money.
Right.
But if you're gonna,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
If you're gonna pay to like try to if you're gonna get paid, I guess the idea is like if you could either get paid for it or maybe you could like pay this person something. And what would be even like more interesting would be to flip the. I don't know if scam's the right word. It's definitely seems opportunistic. I don't know if I would necessarily say scam. Definitely sketchy.
Yeah.
Feels sketchy at least. But be like, oh yeah, well, I just have this one guitar and like, but it sounds like you know how to restore these things. So do you think like you could just like, maybe you could restore this for me and then you try to talk about the process and whatever. Then you're like, I've got like 4 more. Now I know the process.
No, you can't just pick up how to do it from talking to someone. He's not going to be like, oh, here's how you restore every guitar in 3 easy steps.
Right,
like,
right. That's true. That's true.
That's a dumb idea, Steve. Shame on you for even having it. I don't know. It's a little bit of a bummer of an ad for sure.
Yeah.
And I hope everyone that's down there, I hope no one's guitars got ruined. I hope everyone's fine. I hope everything worked out. I'm saying this while I'm laying on a beach in Hawaii.
I feel like it's not opportunistic. I feel like it would be interesting if you were in Hawaii and like the entire time you're there, it's just monsoonal.
Oh man,
you like go outside one time.
The last time I was there, it was like 3 days after the leftovers of a hurricane blew through.
Oh, really?
And so everything was all screwed up. All the beaches had like brown water because everything was all stirred up and trees were down and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have much else to say on it. I've seen people, even locally, post ads saying like, "Oh, you got that old acoustic guitar in your closet? Like, let me know what you got. I'll buy it."
It was just tacky, the timing of
it. And it's so like specific.
It's like, is this guy hoping to catch people who like had to abandon their house and they're stuck on the road and they're sitting there looking at their phone and it's like, I left all my guitars. Oh, this guy says he'll buy them. Maybe I should like write down his address or something.
Or just, it kind of feels like it's trying to get in on somebody who might be in a desperate situation where maybe they have like 3 or 4 guitars that would be worth, a few $1,000s in good condition, but now that they're damaged and they're like desperate for any money they can get because they're not,
they'll take $200 to get gas to get out of town.
Exactly. Or, they know it's going to be the guitar's already damaged because they're coming back to it. They're seeing this after the fact.
Yeah.
The guitars are just sitting in their garage because they don't know what to do with them. And they're like, well, I guess they're ruined.
They just want to start over as quick and easy as they can.
Right. And whatever money they could get is, diapers or bread. Hotel.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah. It feels skeezy.
Yeah.
And I know Skeezy. Speaking of Skeezy, here's our first topic, sent in by Brian Wampler, who
the man
says,
himself.
Here's a few we won't use, probably. We're calling this Chasing Tone Podcast Cast-Offs.
Maybe we should send him our like cast-off topics for Chasing Tone.
Dude, we never have cast-off topics. We're desperate.
We use everything. We're like how like the Native Americans use a whole buffalo.
Oh my gosh.
We use every scrap of content there is.
I actually really like this first question.
These are great questions. I hope they do use them.
What's one effect that you love when others use but doesn't sound right when you play it?
You go first.
Mine is chorus.
Yeah.
Chorus is the one where I can only sound like somebody doing a really bad Andy Summers impression when I use chorus.
Yeah, I have a tough time finding the balance between like the chorus might as well not be there and there's just way too much and you just like, what are you trying to sound like a synth? Like, what are you doing here? That's part of the reason I like the Walrus Julia so much is because it very easily finds a nice middle ground.
Right.
Like a nice smooth blend. Where other courses, I just have never had any luck with them. Also does a vibrato thing nice. Mm-hmm. But yeah, chorus is a big one. We're all listening to some classic song that's got a bunch of chorus in it. It's just got gobs of chorus. And like, how come when I use it, it doesn't sound good? It's probably one of those effects you got to play to it,
Right.
You have to be playing the chorus pedal to a certain effect.
Yeah.
I was having a similar thought about flangers the other day.
Flangers?
Or flangers.
Flanges.
Flanges.
Flange. All right.
Flanges. Whereas, like, I can think of a few classic songs that I like that have flange in them.
Uh-huh.
But then when I use it, it just sounds like a big jet engine.
Right.
Like, and it's just kind of annoying and dumb.
Isn't that what they're supposed to sound like? Big jet engine?
Yeah, but they're like, there's ways to use them where it's not distracting.
Right.
And it's kind of like a... It's a sign. I wrote this down and I shared it with you the other day. It's the sign of a mature musician or guitarist when they can use flanger in an appropriate way.
Oh my gosh. I feel like the other effect for me is actually like really high gain distortion.
Yeah, that can be tricky.
The only way I've really ever like been comfortable using like a high gain distortion is like if I'm in a drop tuning.
Interesting.
Otherwise, like it always just like I don't know. I mean, I've got a rat, and I love that. But like,
thanks, Dr. Seuss.
but otherwise, like, oh, my rat's actually a woodcutter from Big Ear NYC, but that's a whole other issue. Problem? It's not a problem. Issue. It's great. But it's like I use that for very specific things, and like I just.
But that's a pedal that does low gain well too.
Yeah, well, that's also true. But I like so when you had the. I forget what pedal it was, but recently, I think it was like the last time we did some on-air guitar playing.
Okay.
One of the pedals that we were messing around with was like a high gain, either a fuzz or it was like a high gain distortion.
Okay.
And I was just like, I don't know what to play. Like, I don't know what to do with this.
It's kind of a very specific sound. Like if you're going high gain, you're either, the lone guitarist in a punk rock band that's chugging out power chords.
Yeah.
Or you're, some sort of shredder who's really like just emphasizing those deedly-deedlies.
Right.
Or doing like a Van Halen sort of, like dive bomby sort of thing.
Yeah.
I really enjoy high gain, and when I'm playing at home, I'm using a lot of gain, and throwing a tad of delay on there, doing the hair metal thing. But it's so rare that I ever have the opportunity to actually use that in a band setting. And I've thought like, oh, someday I'd like to be like in a metal band or something like that for kicks, for the first season of my life. But it's so rare you're ever in that situation where you need that sound. Mm-hmm. So much of guitar sound these days is, kind of mid gain, light crunch, light drivey sort of sounds, where like if you're going to get heavy, you're going to lay down a fuzz, but you're going to layer it with, like delays and reverbs and things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah. That's a frustrating effect to have a lot of it around and not have a reason to use any of it.
Right.
I kind of feel that way about big muffs too. Like you think about classic big muff sound, and they're very like front of the band. Like the guy who's playing it. Whether you're Billy Corgan or whoever. What's the guy from? Shoot, can't remember the name of his name. Nate had one of his guitars. The Squire. Jazz master. Jay Mascis.
Jay Mascis.
Yeah, if you're Jay Mascis.
Dinosaur Jr.
Yeah, Dinosaur Jr. Sheesh. Talking about a brain fart. But I'm never in a situation where I need a giant big muff sound.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating. Like when I use fuzz sounds, I usually am going for like a super bright, like gated sound.
Yeah.
And that's just not what a muff does.
Right.
So there's a lot of effects out there that apparently we are too frustrated to use. So, that's a great question, though.
All right. This I feel like is like a yes or no, unless you want to tell a story.
The next one from Brian Wampler here.
Has anyone ever come up to you at a gig and commented on your tone?
What's funny is when we used to play at the same church, like no one there ever would come and talk to me about my guitar.
Uh-huh.
And at my new church, like there's just this weird culture. I call it weird. It's probably like what most people would like. There's this culture of everyone being very complimentary.
Oh, yeah.
I get lots of people coming up to me after service and be like, wow, it sounded really good. Wow, good playing. And it's like, you're making me feel weird. Yeah. Don't talk to me.
I had a guy, I definitely have people notice my tone, so I guess they'll comment on it.
Uh-huh.
Especially like with, I guess, especially with guitar, because I'll tend to do more like swells. So a lot of times people will come up and be like, oh man, was that you doing like that organy stuff?
Uh-huh.
That was, or like, so either like if I'm doing swells or if I'm using the micropog for like kind of like a muted electric organ kind of
Yeah,
sound.
yeah.
So I've gotten comments on that before.
You need to bring that Pog over here, by the way.
I do?
So I can do a shootout with the Pitchfork and the Sub and Up.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I've gotten comments on that at our church. I talked about this on the show before, that I had like basically walked somebody through like my entire pedal board once because they were like wondering about what I use and what I use it for, and I was like, oh yeah, I use this pedal. Oh yeah, this. I think it was the Micropog. I was like, this is actually the pedal that I used to make that sound that you liked.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. But never like at a gig. I don't think I ever got compliments for anything except for being like wild.
Yeah. Well, when we were playing, we were definitely wild. That's for sure.
That's about all I got.
I had a guy.
I don't really know a lot about guitar or tone.
You have a lot to learn about guitar and tone, Steve.
Yeah.
I had a guy at a Dinosaur Ghost gig a while back. We were playing this bar that had a big open window that went out to the street.
Yeah.
And we were doing our sound check, and this guy rushes in the door, and he comes up to the stage, and as soon as we're done playing, he's like, how did you get that reverb sound? I was like, oh, well, come look at my pedal board, and I'll show you the pedals that I'm using. I'm using, this and that. And I'm, hitting it with a 250 clone over here.
Right.
And he's like, oh, cool. That's really great. And I'm thinking, oh, this guy is stoked on what he just heard. He's going to stick around and watch us. But really, he was just like, okay, thanks. And then he went out the door and like ran up the street and was gone, and I never saw him again.
People are weird.
So that was pretty fun. Let's hit this last question from Brian Wampler. Practicality aside, what's the one piece of famous gear you'd love to own?
I kind of am split on this, and it's kind of weird. I thought of two different pieces, neither of which are from artists where I'm like super. Like I don't really have any artists that I'm like obsessive over.
Yeah, me either. Neither of us. I was thinking about this the other day. Neither of us are like big music fans. I
hate music.
We're more gear fans. Hence this whole show we've been doing for almost 4 years. Like we're like we get excited about like meeting these builders for the first time.
So
and things like that.
From a gear perspective, I think these two choices, especially if you've listened to the show, these two choices are going to make a lot of sense. One is John Paul Jones's bass rig, which I believe was an acoustic 371 into an acoustic 370, just a massive, like ridiculously massive bass rig. And
you need a new car to transport that thing.
And then the other one that I was thinking would be cool would be B.B. King's Gibson Lab 5.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Which was the amp.
Yeah.
And I think that both of those, the acoustic, because one is classic acoustic, classic bass rig. The Lab Series 5, I just think is really interesting because that's always, the go-to amp when people are like, when people talk about like professional musicians using solid state in a historic sense, because a lot of people now are using like Kemper's Live, or they're using like the Line 6 Helix Live, like stuff like that, the Fractal Effects, Axe 2 Live, all these things live that are like these modern digital devices. But B.B. King was one of the classic live solid state users with the Lab series.
Yeah. So
those were kind of the two things I was thinking of. And again, like these aren't Led Zeppelin. Like I know they're radio songs, but I'm not like, I don't own a Zeppelin album. Like I'm not like I'm not a super into Led Zeppelin, and B.B. King kind of like the same thing. Like I recognize them when they show, like when they play his videos on TV, like when they play like his concerts on TV.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, like,
I mean, you enjoy all this music, but it's not like, I think I was thinking about this because I was watching the Mark Maron special.
Right.
And
the new one?
Yeah, the new one.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's fun. But the way he talks about music and musicians is like, okay, this guy is a music fan.
Right.
But he's a guitarist too. He plays guitar. But he's obsessed about the music side of it and the musicians.
Right.
And he just has these like music gods that he looks up to.
Yeah.
Where like if him and I were in a room and Keith Richards walked in, he would just poop bricks.
Right.
And I'd be like, oh, wow, that's interesting. There's Keith.
I'd be like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Mark Maron just pooped bricks.
But then, like if Keith Richards' gear cart rolled into the room, I'd be like, oh, yeah, here we go. I got to take a look in this thing.
Yeah. I actually think I'm more interested in music from like a drama standpoint. Like,
okay, I can see that with you.
From like less about like singular artists at this point and more about like, oh, what's this weird thing? So a few weeks ago, the band Brand New dropped a new album called Science Fiction. And with it, they've been dropping like hints at things that they're planning, and like they have a website that they're affiliated with that has a countdown timer on it.
Okay.
And people are, it's counting down to like some day next year. So there's speculation going on about like
that's the end of the world.
What this is supposed to be counting down to. There's also a bunch of binary on it. And when you put it in a binary converter, at least binary to English, it's gibberish. But there's like, it's kind of this weird thing that I'm kind of like been trying to like, when I think about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I need to spend some time. Like what haven't I tried to do with this yet? And there's a group of us who are all listeners to this show. Well, I don't listen to this show, but they do. That are kind of like trying to figure this out. So that like I'm genuinely interested in. And I like Brand New as a band, but like some of the other people.
You like the mystery.
I like the mystery. There was a conversation about like that the expectations that this countdown timer might be counting down to either their next album release or like maybe like a final concert, because there's a rumor that they may just go on like into retirement soon. And that maybe this Morse code is indicating like saying something specific about the location, or not Morse code, the binary.
Yeah,
is saying something specific about the location. So then, of course, the conversation turns into, well, once we figure it out, we're all going to meet up, right? Like, we're all going to come from like the four corners of the United States.
Oh my gosh!
Because literally,
this sounds like too much work.
Literally, there's a couple of us here. There's a couple of us like. There's one or two people in like the mid-Atlantic, and there's like one or two people in like Seattle. Yeah. So we would be at least coming from three of the four corners of the United States. So that's kind of like, I'm into like weird facts more than like, oh, I got to know everything about this one artist, but that's the only artist I know anything about.
Right. Man, I don't even know what I would say for this. There's a lot of, I mean, he says practicality aside, like Dream Gear. I mean, I'd love to have, Dick Dale's guitar.
Right.
I'd love to have the echo machine that Hank Marvin used in the Shadows to record Apache. I'd love to have these random like kind of pieces of recording history, or pieces of effect history that you can't reproduce and things like that. But it's not like I sit there and obsess like, oh man, I just wish I had this person's one thing and that would be it. That's my dream guitar right there. Or my dream amp or whatever. Yeah. I feel like most of the sounds out there I can get with whatever, with over the, available things. Like everything is reproduced these days. You can get all sorts of stuff. It'd be neat to have an original Mosrite and have one that was owned by someone that I like. And, like maybe one of the ones that the Ramones used, or one of the ones that the Ventures used. One of their early ones, the later ones they had made for them were tacky. They had like Ed Roman making them. Like,
yeah.
Or, like one of the Yamaha SGVs that Terry used from Terry and the Bunnies, which is a Japanese band. Man, things like that would be so much fun. Or maybe something from Man or Astro Man. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you can only pick one.
Well, here's what I want.
Even though I picked two.
Here's the one that I want. I want Dragula from the White Zombie video.
Oh my gosh! Is it the car?
Yeah, but it's a music prop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want it.
All right. Well, in that case, I want.
I can burn through the witches with that thing.
In that case, I want Dave Grohl's Guitar Throne from the Broken Leg tour.
I think that's something to think about, like music video props. Like Things like that would be cool.
Yeah.
Oh, someone posted that Devo reproduction guitar that Eastwood makes earlier today on the group. I think those are cool.
My favorite comment on that was, that guitar looks like it needs a Viagra.
Eastwood also makes the LeBay clone, which is basically like a 2x4 with a guitar neck on it.
Right.
I've always thought those were pretty cool. When I saw Devo, you were with me when we saw Devo play live.
I never saw Devo.
Dude, it was you, me, and Adam. Christina bought us tickets to go see Devo at House of Blues. This was like 12 years ago.
I don't remember this.
You went with us.
I don't think it was me. I think it was someone else.
Dude, it was you. She bought us
The only time I've ever been to House of Blues was for Presidents.
Maybe it was Presidents. I thought you went with us to Devo.
No, I've never seen Devo.
Well, never mind then.
Yeah, I went with you guys to see Presidents.
Okay.
I have a very odd memory from that show.
Really?
Yeah. It's the drunk girl who is using her boobs as a cup holder.
Okay, I don't remember that at all.
That was like her whole deal. She's like walking around with like a red Solo cup shoved in like.
Oh yeah, it was Presidents because I got on their street crew and I got 2 free tickets and then I bought a 3rd ticket so you could go.
Oh, cool.
I thought that was the Devo show, but no,
it was Presidents.
Yeah, it was around the same time.
Yeah. Well, it was probably back when you were going to a lot of shows.
Yeah, when I could go to shows.
Not like now.
Yeah, once you have a kid, it's really hard to go to shows.
Yeah.
Really
Once
hard.
I started,
and it's not.
Once I started running a music venue, I got really disinterested in going to shows.
That too.
I was like, I gotta pay to get into this. What's that all about?
The thing about having a kid isn't like I can't go to this show because I gotta put him to bed because you'll put him to bed before the show happens.
Yeah.
It's getting up in the morning. Like your kid's going to be awake way before you, and you got to wake up too. And it's like, I need that sleep. All right. We tackled these questions from Wampler just fine. Thanks a lot, Brian. I still feel bad because I didn't interview him at Summer NAMM, and his booth was across from JHS and Walrus. And both those guys got really long interviews out of me.
Man.
But I completely blew my voice.
Suck.
I know, I really suck. I completely blew my voice out talking to Josh Scott about just nonsense for like an hour and a half. And then Brian was like, "Oh, you're going to interview me?" And I was like, "I can't talk anymore."
Yeah. Anyway,
we need to figure out Skype.
Side conversation.
We need to figure out Skype and get Brian on the horn because he's such a great guy.
Especially now that like I actually have a microphone at home now that I can run into my setup and actually get like a good recording sound.
You should do it.
Yeah.
Steve, I want you to
shut your
I want
face.
you to tackle our interview over Skype section of our
I've only been
empire.
talking about doing this for 4 years.
I know, right?
All right, this next ad was sent in to us from Adzant himself. This is a leather jacket with studs and spikes, $30. I took the screenshot of this and I saved it, and then Ryan was like, I want to talk about this, and then I realized why it was hilarious.
Why is it hilarious, Steve?
This ad is for a size 38 leather motorcycle jacket with lots of studs and spikes. Also comes with Megadex and Anthrax pins.
Megadeth, you mean?
Isn't that what I said?
You said Megadex.
Megadex. Oh, and Anthrath pins.
Megadex and Anthrax.
It is in excellent condition. Price is $30 or best offer. I can be contacted by replying to this ad. So this is probably a fair price for this, I guess. If you want a jacket covered in spikes. And
I don't
stuff.
buy jackets. What does size 38 mean?
So that's why I thought it was hilarious. So I think size 38 is chest size.
Okay.
And I can't tell you what size a size 38 chest is, but I can tell you that the suit jacket that I got when I was 16 was a size 38.
Okay.
Like a 38 regular
Is that
jacket.
corduroy you always wear?
No.
Okay.
This is like that's like I said, I believe that's the chest size measurement. So a size 38 is the bottom end of like a men's medium jacket.
Gotcha. So what would I be like a 44 or something?
Probably
like that?
at least a 44.
Like a
I would
46,
guess.
48.
So to give you an idea, like to go on the other end, like now I think so remember that lab coat that I wore?
Yeah.
For our
The
Chase
Gravitas
Bliss video?
Yeah.
That I think is a 38 as well.
Oh,
It's either
okay.
a 38 or a 40, and that's how small that was on me.
Right.
like my white undershirts that I used to wear when I could wear white undershirts, those were, I think, all 40 or 42s, and those are meant to be undershirts. I think my lab coat now that I wear at work is either a 46 or a 48.
Well, to bring this back around to, something adjacent to music, the reason I thought it would be fun to talk about this was to talk about the angle of like what we wear on stage and what we wear for shows. Because I've thought about picking up a leather jacket like this for Dinosaur
You would
Ghost.
die.
I would definitely die from heat. Like right now, we wear like the thinnest t-shirts there are, and sometimes we wear cut off jean shorts.
Yeah,
and it's
you
like
would die.
I sweat to death. Like playing a couple of songs, just a little bit of moving around I do, and I think just getting excited.
Yeah.
I sweat buckets. But I see these guys all the time playing concerts, wearing sweaters and jackets and boots and hats and stuff. Like, I don't understand how they do it.
I think there are certain things like that if you do it enough, you just get used to it. And I think there's a little bit of like suffer for the craft.
I guess.
You know who we should have on to ask about this is Adam.
Our friend Adam would wear full suits, like jackets,
and
slacks.
Those were like pretty high energy shows.
I think he would wear. Yeah, he definitely sweated those things out.
So
and he would wear, like fancy shoes and whatnot.
I mean, there were at least a few.
What was the name of the guy who'd wear those heavy sweaters all the time when he would play? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I have no idea.
He would play at the Park Gallery a lot. I can't remember his name.
A lot of people would play at the Park Gallery a lot.
He moved away to Norway, and he uses hydrophones to talk to whales now.
Oh, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Okay, never mind. But that guy would wear sweaters as like his fashion statement all the time. In the middle of summer, it'd be freaking 98 degrees in that place, and he had this thick Christmas sweater on.
Right. Well, I know I played at least. I was gonna say I played at least one show in like a full cowboy shirt, but then that's a cowboy shirt, so it's like
cowboy shoe.
It's like linen.
Yeah.
It's long sleeve, but it's linen.
And once it gets wet, it evaporates and cools off a little bit. Like a leather jacket. This is it's just going to hold all the moisture. I don't know how people do, because lots of people wear leather jackets when they play. Like historically, like think about Judas Priest. Think about like the Ramones and stuff like that. Like those aren't low energy acts either. Like those guys are moving around and getting rowdy. I wish I could pull off the look, though, and I wish I could do it on stage.
You should just get one and then cut the sleeves off.
Do a short sleeve leather jacket.
Well, no, do like a no sleeve leather jacket.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get like a vest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Here's the thing: like, you've also got to be the kind of person who can pull off a leather vest. Because if you can't pull it off,
I think it's got to be a jacket. If it's a leather vest, you're just gonna look like a leather daddy.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, it starts to push into fetish gear if you have not the right look.
No, I think if you have like a leather jacket that you cut the sleeves off, and then you're wearing a shirt underneath it still.
Yeah.
I think that would be. If you're just wearing a leather vest with no undershirt, then
I can realize that if I put stuff on like that on, like the fantasy is like, oh, put that on, and now I'm like, cool punk rock dude. I look like a real like rough around the edges rascal. The reality is that the way I'm put together, if I put that on, I look like a bear. I look like
right.
I hit the leather daddy thing a lot quicker than I hit the punk rock scrappy kid look. That's the fantasy in my head.
Right. Speaking about fantasies in your head. Jason Fuzzmonger wants to know, if you had to play a cover of one Disney song, which one would you want to play?
I think this is a great question.
Yeah, my problem is my older daughter's kind of past her Disney movie watching phase. Sure. And my younger daughter isn't there. She just doesn't.
That sounded really sad the way you said that, but it just means that she's not there developmentally.
Well, she's just like she's
not into Disney
she doesn't
stuff.
watch TV for more than 5 or 10 minutes.
It sounds like she walked away from her relationship with you. She just isn't there anymore.
She's gone. She's gone.
She gave up on being my daughter.
So I don't I've been trying to think of a song that's not like a ultra cliche answer to this.
Well, I think the way you find your answer is not what you're going to play for your kid, but what do you play for you, Steve?
That's what I'm saying. I haven't consumed enough recently Like, so some of the answers in
Not
this,
recently. Think about your childhood, man.
dude, I blocked all that out.
Steve hasn't been a child in a long time. He's tried to forget that time in his life.
I really like what I really like. Charles Gibson says Steve is right now working on a new metal version of "Let It Go." Adam Dolhanic, the inboxer, suggested "Not in Nottingham."
I really like that answer. I actually have played that song for my toddler because we watched the
Not
Disney
in Nottingham
Nottingham.
or Robin Hood and Little John. Probably Robin Hood and Little John.
Both of them. Both of them.
Okay.
Those are both. That movie has some great songs in it.
Not in Nottingham is kind of depressing.
It's a bummer song, but it's a great like folky, like great like slow song to learn.
That song was Roger Miller.
Yeah.
So I mean,
But
classic.
not in Nottingham.
So Justin Porter followed that up with saying that Mumford and Sons did a version of that, which I listened to on YouTube, which led me to the Watkins family version of Not in Nottingham, which is Sarah and Sean Watkins from the band Nickel Creek.
Okay.
And that version's like hauntingly good.
Oh, I bet.
So that was really cool. So, you know, I don't know. I still like, I feel like there's probably like a really obvious song that I'm just not thinking of.
My first jump to in my head, like in an instrumental direction, is that I should really learn some of the tracks from Jungle Book because it kind of hits that like exotica, like Tikiana, you know, Polynesian pop sort of like jungle fantasy sort of sound with, you know, like vibraphones and stuff. That would be a good, you know, set of songs for me to learn for Dinosaur Ghost or to experiment around with, you know, the structure of them. I wouldn't even know what they're called because a lot of them don't have lyrics. I mean, there are good songs with lyrics in that movie too. And that's something that, have you watched the new live action one?
I have. Yeah.
I thought it was really good, and part of what makes it really good is that they bring in those instrumental songs and incorporate them into the new version, and it meant a lot to me watching it. Like, it's still, you know, like I really enjoy the older animated version, but being able to tie it together like that was a lot of fun. So I would love to figure out one of those old Jungle Book songs. Like an instrumental.
I'm really like fighting them. And I think part of the problem is like a lot of, I think what we think of as like classic Disney songs now are very much tend to be like the princess era music.
Sure.
I don't have,
I could see you tackling a Lion King song.
Right. But like, that's something that I would say is like, also would be like, I would also call that like a princess-ish, tangentially princess song. I was actually thinking of, though as a solo, from a solo artist, I don't know what I would do with it if I had to solo it.
Like I could see
would
you
be something from Aristocats.
I could see you covering Hakuna Matata from Lion King.
Right.
Yeah, Aristocats would be fun. Like that jazz era of Disney songs, you know?
The other one I was thinking would be, though I don't have a specific song in mind, would be something from Fox and the Hound. There's music in it, but it's more like
background music.
Background music, and I think there's like a closing song that actually has lyrics. But it's not necessarily it's not like a musical,
but
Disney
it's like
movie.
a very 70s like closing song.
Yeah, well, that movie came out in 81. So.
Did it really? Mm-hmm. Well, you know, like the 70s style folk was still was still a thing then.
Well,
I didn't know that movie came out in
in
81. I always assumed it was like 76 or something like that. What about Lady and the Tramp?
One that would be interesting to do do a treatment on, just a deconstruction on, is One Jump Ahead from Aladdin. But make it super depressing. Like you're just living your entire life on the run. This is the worst thing ever. You're just like one jump ahead of the.
Was there songs in Oliver and Company?
Oh yeah,
we're just listing Disney songs at this point. Wasn't that movie like a huge flop for Disney? I remember being super dark. Like you never see it you never see it referenced anywhere in Disney culture.
I just, I think it's one of the
Company.
ones that's not a classic.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, I'd love to see you do like a straight faced, like monotone, like staring at the camera with like a what the hell look on your face cover of the Siamese Cat song from Lady and the Tramp. It's like it's like a political statement.
Oh man,
super racist.
Oh my gosh, that hurts my feelings.
Something from Song of the South. Zippity doo-dah. Zippity doo-dah. You take that and you put it in a minor key.
Oh my gosh.
You are in interesting territory.
Yeah. I'm looking through a list of like Disney music collections.
Zippity day. Well, yeah, there's a lot of great songs in Mary Poppins.
Yeah, no, there are.
Great song. Yeah, cover what's his name? Who is the guy in it? I can't remember.
Oh, Dick Van Dyke?
Yeah, cover Dick Van Dyke's terrible accent. You know what songs I actually really love? I love all the songs from the original Dr. Dolittle.
I don't remember
that movie's got a great soundtrack. I would love to learn some of those songs.
Was that actually Disney?
That was Disney. My friend, the doctor says that it did it. You don't know it?
Nope. Dude,
I love that song.
Way too long.
That's a great song. I mean, speaking of terrible accents, let's move on. I think we haven't answered this, but we've talked about it enough.
Yeah.
Like neither of us, the only way we can actually commit to actually picking songs is if we actually do it, and I'm just not ready to commit. Maybe I'll record myself covering one on ukulele or something.
There you go. All right. Why can I not find this last ad?
I don't know, man. You got to zoom out on the drive. It's in there.
What's it under?
Man, how come I can't find it? Where did it go?
Anyway, so this one's called Input Jack Cleaner.
And why can't I find it?
I don't know, man. Where is it?
Okay, I'm just going to zoom in here and scroll through. Oh, here it is. I found it. It's the one that has like a tweed texture. That's why you're missing it.
It's just okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because I put amp input cleaner.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an amp input jack cleaner cable. It's $99. Don't buy this, guys.
Don't buy it. It's a trick.
It's a trap.
I've seen these before marketed as a joke, and they'll just be called electric guitar cable.
Yeah.
It's literally like a 1/4-inch jack connected to a cable, and on the other end of the cable is a 3-prong wall plug.
Yeah. Don't give this to anyone you like.
No.
Don't give this to anyone you hate because you're going to go to jail.
You're going to go to jail. I mean, it might not kill them, but it might. Could this potentially fry something in your guitar?
I think it could definitely potentially kill them.
I mean, getting hit from wall current could potentially kill you. I've been hit by wall current and didn't die.
Sure. I mean, it wouldn't be fun.
It's not a guaranteed death.
Well, sure.
But it is not pleasant and it's not great. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
Yeah. Would it fry anything? I would imagine you would at least you could possibly blow the capacitors in your guitar.
Yeah.
Or
I mean the
if you were to plug this into the front end of an amp, that amp would be toast for sure.
Oh, of course. Yeah, you would fry the amp. Or you would fry the failsafe that's in the amp.
Well, that's all the front. You would be plugging into the front end. There's you destroy the entire front end of the amp. There's no way.
There's no failsafe?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, you think about your guitar is designed to handle your guitar. The voltage output from your guitar is minimal.
Yeah.
And is it even generating?
I always assumed there was
is your guitar really generating?
Some kind of fuse or failsafe or a component that would fry pretty early on.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm not an amp builder by any means. So if you are,
I'm not. I just said I'm not.
No, I mean if you are a listener.
Oh, okay. A listener.
send us an email and tell me that I'm wrong. But this is definitely a bad idea. I just don't know how bad of an idea it is.
I'd hope that whoever made this joke cable didn't actually wire it up to completion inside.
Right.
I think that's the way to do this joke cable is like give it someone, like, ha, 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 and they're like, ha, 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 I get it. But then it's laying around the house, and someday someone picks it up and like, oh, is this how you use it? I'm going to plug in this amp and I'll plug this in here.
Geez.
You know, like,
and it doesn't work.
An accident waiting to happen if it actually completes the circuit, you know. But if you're making the joke, then just don't complete the circuit. Don't connect those wires to anything. That's all I'm saying. I'm begging you, please.
Yep.
Do we have anything else to say about this?
I think that's it.
All right, let's wrap this up. Call it a night.
Quick thanks to our sponsors, Wong's Amplifiers. Remember, you can get a $25 discount on the Mini 5 from Wong's. Head on over to wongsamplifier.com and put in the code SLUM60 at checkout for you. $25 off a Mini 5. That's the one that I have that I really like and I use all the time.
Yeah, don't you use that for church?
I do.
There you go.
Great little church amp. Also, thanks to Equits Guitars. Head on over to equitsguitars.com. Kevin is a friend of the show, Inner Circle member, super cool guy, and he makes great guitars.
He has 3 models of guitar. Buy every single one of them.
Yeah, buy them all. Buy all of them in every color.
Exactly.
This week's song was sent in by Joshua K. Fraser. You might know him as the Doodle Guy in the Facebook group.
Yeah, he does a lot of doodles.
He says, "Hey, Captain and Octo Steve, I wanted to submit Chasing the Chipmunk for the show end. It's all me on guitar, mando, and toy djembe. I occasionally have to chase chipmunks out of our store when they get in, and this basically would be the soundtrack for it."
I can't wait to hear it. That sounds awesome.
The song is called Chasing the Chipmunk. Thanks, Josh. And thanks, everybody, for listening. Hope you made it this far.
Yeah, and hey, just a reminder, if you're in Maui and you're listening to this when it comes out, hit me up. Let's hang out. Bye.
Bye.